Chiefs Kingdom, welcome in to the latest episode of the AP Film Room on the Arrowhead Pride YouTube, Twitter, Facebook page. Appreciate you joining us tonight. We are live on Wednesday evening talking through the Chiefs. Once again, 6th consecutive AFC Championship. We are here. It's pretty remarkable. I am Ron Kopp Jr., lead analyst at the site. Caleb James at CJ Scoobs and Nate Christensen at NateCH32 on Twitter. Joining me as always, boys, we are here. Caleb, I'll just leave it there. I mean, how are you feeling with kind of being kind of one win away once again?
Man, it's crazy to think about, especially where the Chiefs were at one point this season, but they went on the road. They get that first playoff win in the Mahomes era. They continue to dominate the Bills in every must-win situation they find themselves in, and honestly, the wide right was just kind of a nice touch to end the game. There was still a lot of time left on the clock, and the way the Chiefs' offense was operating at the time, I was pretty sure they would have gone down and scored anyway. Just a little insult to injury to the Bills Mafia up there, though.
Shout out Noah Engel in the comments. We are blessed to have Mahomes. That's my guy. Shout out Noah. Nate, we're here. We are the villains. You know, it was kind of fun to play the villain on the road, kind of sending Buffalo home. How are you enjoying Sunday even?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to enjoy Chiefs Bills. I said that during the game. It's like, even though it's like stress inducing, it's like, enjoy the game. It's just such high quality football that's played when those two teams play. It's like on another level almost. So it's hard, it's hard not to enjoy the win. And I agree. I think that if they had gotten the ball back, they certainly would have gotten down the field and won. I will say, at the 2-minute warning, I thought they were going to lose, because in my head, I was thinking, all right, Chiefs had all 3 timeouts, I think, at that point. I don't think they burned one, because the Bills only had 2 left. So I was thinking they were going to just like run Josh Allen to the end of the game. I just thought they were going to like run the clock out at that point based on how that drive was going. But what was funny was the second they threw on 2nd and 9 and he missed, I was like, oh, we're going to win. Like, that's how like quickly it changed. Like, the commercial break, I was like, we're losing. And then that one play, I was like, oh, we're winning. Like, that's how even tight this game was, like, until the very end. No,
we were talking about it. I mean, they really did kind of mess up, not just spamming that Josh Allen, just use his legs more, just run, especially at that drive. You're right. But yeah, I'm sure, like many Chiefs fans, I took a lap when that kick went wide right, man. That was a good feeling to kind of get the game done and over. But for the neutral fan, that kind of was probably a buzzkill, right? Like, you thought you were getting overtime.
Did ruin the ending a little bit. It was a little anticlimactic.
Yeah, it was, exactly. But hey, we'll take it to be in the AFC ship, and with the Chiefs offense, we talked about us having the trust that they were going to go down and score, and it was a lot because of the run game, right? A lot because of how efficient they were on the ground, how much they were able to consistently attack with Isaiah Pacheco, even some other guys. So, Caleb, you're going to break down the Chiefs' run game for us tonight. Go ahead and show us kind of how they were able to take advantage of it was a depleted Buffalo defense, but not on the defensive line, right? It was a lot of their starting guys. What'd you see?
Man, and it was kind of like one of those deals with the the Bills' defensive line. They've always played some pretty good games versus the Chiefs. I think they've always had some they've had some guys that could compete in there. They are down quite a few. They're down quite a few bodies. The Bills were.
Linebacker. Linebacker Terrell Bernard was supposed to he was kind of a game time decision. And he's been a good player for them this year since Matt Milano had to get hurt, or since Matt Milano got hurt. And so he was an important player.
Give me just a second, guys. It's not quite pulling up where I thought it was going to be at.
And like Taron Johnson, second team All-Pro cornerback, like he ended up playing, but the Chiefs were able to exploit him both in the run and the pass, I would say. They kind of, we'll see a pass later.
Yeah,
but a certain receiver,
Rough.
A certain receiver had a little nice snag on good old second team All-Pro Taron Johnson. But all right, let's talk some run game, Caleb.
Yeah, we just
the big
start out. They go, some basic stuff, just their little offset zone look. Nothing really special. The Bills do a good job to pinch it up, but you notice right away, like some of that movement and physicality off the line of scrimmage, specifically between Humphrey and Smith. They really both had a great game on the inside there. But then we get into some of the different stuff they were doing, and they start running these little pin and pull looks, and I really like these plays a lot. We've seen them kind of sporadically throughout the year. But, this week I just saw everyone talking about, well, they were in 13 personnel. That's true, but I don't think that was necessarily the big thing. It wasn't necessarily the personnel adjustment to me as it was kind of the formation adjustment, because they're in kind of a balanced type look here. They've got Gray and Kelsey on one side. They've got a receiver, or Gray and Bell on one side, and then the Kelsey and the receiver on the other. But Pacheco being in the backfield there, they really don't give the Bills any indication which way they're going to run. So then they kind of take something, in the pistol. They kind of take a little play out of the McDaniel playbook with some of those tosses that the Dolphins have run in the past. But really, just a pretty good job blocking down there by Gray. And then you get the pulls around the edge and just some strong running by Pacheco, because the Bills kind of came out and they were playing a lot of their DBs on the fields. I mean, Taron Johnson ended up going against an offensive lineman for quite a bit of the game. You see Jawan Taylor was able to handle that there. And even Clyde got in on it. But they got some of these plays where I was kind of thinking as a pin and pull at first. It's honestly more like a center power, the way I would describe it. And really, teams started pinching down on the Chiefs in like some of these power run situations. They start pinching down, the defensive end pinches down there. But that's actually what Taylor wants him to do, because he's going to try to pin him in and kind of block down on him there. But, I mean, just give a giant shout out to Creed Humphrey, because being able to snap and also run block and pull at the same time is ridiculously hard. And he hits 7 with ease. Clyde, does a good job to work through. That was a big run for Clyde. That flipped the field for the Chiefs there. And that was a look that they just kept going all game. I mean, it was really impressive to see. And it's because, they're attacking, they're running the ball on the weak side of the formation. The Bills kind of got their one tech, their shade in there. But again, the defensive ends are so used to, pinching down when they see the power look start to come around. They're, Jawan Taylor's letting them do that. And Creed's getting around the end, and they've got big holes opening up. Joe Tooney had a nice block there in space. And, as we just keep going along here, you see some of the end zone views and everything. I mean, Pacheco is running hard, though. Like, the whole memes, he's running angry. Yeah, he had 96 yards. He's averaging over 6.5 a carry. I kind of wish they'd have used him a little more along the goal line. We'll look at that here in just a second. I'm kind of over some of the jet sweep stuff with McCole Hardman. I think that needed to be mentioned. But what's so hard about this, they get the ball in the red zone here, and right away you got your center and Trey Smith are, they got the backside, in the zone left play. Tooney's creating the space. Actually, the play Tooney gets hurt on. But, I mean, just look at the movement that Humphrey and Smith both finished their guys to the ground to end the play. I mean, this dude playing linebacker for the Bills, he was in Cancun, I think, when they called him. Their
Key West, to be specific. It was Key West.
I forget their big nose tackle's name, but he's the guy saying Jason Kelsey played dirty and all that stuff, and he's just getting manhandled by Trey Smith there, thrown around. Pacheco, big finish. I kind of wish the Chiefs would just do that instead of giving the ball to Hardman. That kind of frustrates me from time to time. But, here's the play that kind of set up the Hardman issue, and it was just so well executed. It's the same play they ran earlier. This time Donovan Smith getting the big block on it. But again, you see this time, just looking at the little pre-snap stuff, they're back in the same formation. They're kind of balanced out. The Bills have guys up. They're expecting something, but with Pacheco in the pistol like that, they're not really able to key in on anything. Excellent blocks from Bell. Creed gets a little second effort there, and Pacheco is that close. We have all about had our heart attack. We all cussed the Chiefs right after that play. But, in the end of the game, and here's that play again, because you can just see how bad Pacheco won it. He actually did a nice cut on Hyde there, pretty nice. But then you see kind of just, I'll get out of this one real quick. And then to ice the game, they needed, they had 2 minutes to go. 2 minutes to go. And honestly, Nick Allegretti's in the game at this point because of the Joe Thuney injury, which that'll be big this week. But you see, it's actually Donovan Smith. And here they are in more of like a traditional 13 personnel look. But you see, Allegretti's doing a good job. He's trying to reach. Creed's working up to number 7. But Donovan Smith comes with a lot of force, and he actually creates this pile just by throwing guys over. But that extra couple of yards Pacheco was able to get there was just, it's gigantic in the end scheme of things, because then they only needed one more play to close things out. But you just see he almost takes out Allegretti too, but it's just that little bit of extra effort. And then we'll get in here to this little, last play of the game where Pacheco, he needs a few yards to be able to get in here, to be able to go, get the first down and ice the game. Chiefs are in, like their big 13 personnel package. They're going to be running, zone to the right here. Pacheco knows he's about to get hit, but he does a good job of just continuing to fire. And then you can really see it pretty well. But like I said, the Bills, their defensive tackles, defensive linemen have been pinching down all game. Allegretti actually anticipated it. You see his first step, he's going to be stepping right anyway because it's his zone, but it's a real flat step because he knows he's coming over. And then you see he gets real big with that left hand there. He actually creates the play because the defensive tackle takes himself out of the page. Donovan Smith gives 52 a big shot. Pacheco just powers ahead. And that was the game from there. You see the excitement from the Chiefs. I actually did think it was pretty cool that Nick Allegretti had a couple of key blocks in there to help seal the deal. He's, I think he's a guy that could probably play for a lot of other teams in the National Football League as a starter at either guard or center. Very good depth piece. Obviously they'll be missing Joe Thuney this week if he doesn't play. If there was a guy that could play, though, it would be Joe Thuney. But the Chiefs have kind of, Ron, I saw you describe it as kind of weaponizing their offensive line. They do it in the big games. It frustrates me they don't do it more often, but when they do, it's a thing of beauty.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like Andy, I guess, has a plan or something, because it does seem like they do pull out these runs more so in the big games, when they really need it. And the thing I really liked about this, Caleb, and you touched on it a few times, but the Bills being depleted at linebacker, and they're a nickel team anyway, right? They're going to play nickel to almost everything, just a lot of the time. Just get heavy and just get your tight ends on smaller dudes. Get your linemen pulling onto blocking smaller guys. It just made a lot of sense for the Chiefs to do. So big credit to the Chiefs for having that game plan. Nate, was there anything else from the Chiefs offensive run game, I guess, specifically? Because we're going to touch on Mahomes a little bit, but anything else before you get on your topic?
No, not too much. I thought the folding stuff with Creed was good, especially for a team that plays as upfield. And Creed could certainly beat all their linebackers in space or their defensive backs one-on-one physically. So I thought that was a good adjustment. But yeah, I have the other side, which was the Chiefs' run defense, which wasn't very good. Just some numbers for that. So the Bills ran 33 plays on Sunday, ran the ball 33 times. 61% success rate, 36% first down rate, which would be so far above anyone else in the NFL. On early downs, 28 runs, 61% success rate, 32% first down rate, which is almost the same. I found this interesting. They had 17 runs on first down, and like on that like series of chains, they moved the chains 70.6% of the time. That's like 13 out of 17 times they ran on first down. They then generated a first down in the next couple plays, essentially. Long way of saying the run defense was bad. Like the run defense was really, it was a problem for the Chiefs. Deliberate or not, and we'll kind of talk about that because I wrote an article about it for Arrowhead Pride. People I thought gave some like really interesting kind of feedback on it because I was pretty critical of the run defense, and some of it was like personnel. We'll kind of get into I got it here. What the Bills did exactly. The Bills are a very heavy like spread to run team. I kind of call it. They like to spread the formation out. And then with the improvements they have on the offensive line this year, they can get to a lot more runs. And they kind of picked the Chiefs at it this game. So this kind of formation, like it is 12 personnel, but like the Chiefs are still like kind of in their too high safety. They're in their base defense, but you kind of notice like Drew Tranquil's having to kick out more. So like this is still like a spread formation with how wide the wide receivers are, kind of this off-ball tight end. Then they're still kind of able to start the play. they still are able to kind of get the runs behind it. They're really good at running this kind of dart concept. I think I talked about the last time these teams played, but like Deion Dawkins is a really good puller. Chiefs defensive tackles are just kind of getting sealed all game. Like Pinella kind of gets sealed there. They get to it again here. You kind of notice by the formation, they shift the running back late, but you kind of got this bubble to the bottom from 11, kind of a light box. The Chiefs come in with like a 5-1 front, but Drew Tranquill kind of goes inside. Nick Bolton isn't able to kind of get over like the trash in time because this left tackle, I forgot the end zone angle that. But the left tackle kind of gets upfield or gets downfield, which doesn't allow Bolton to get the sideline easily. I don't know why this isn't working. Give me a second. There we go. Okay. So a lot of it was like spread to run. So spread the defense out and then run in a light box. And they especially did that with Josh Allen. And that's where like I was talking about coming in the game, like the Josh Allen run game, they always use it against the Chiefs because it works. So as you notice here, this is an empty formation. Chiefs obviously have to kind of spread out to this, like one safety deep, like that leaves you with a 5-on-5. So 5 offensive linemen on 5 players. And Josh Allen gets a 1-on-1 and he gets to use kind of vision and space. They really attacked in this in kind of red zone situations. Allen had a pretty good ball fake there, but still, like, it's a light box. Like, he's just kind of able to use his vision. I thought they were maybe even trying to get, like, a shovel pass there, but regardless, like, he kind of reads, like, I can't go up middle, so I'm kind of ball fake Charles Menhu, get around the edge. And the Chiefs just didn't really have the numbers to attack it. Again, like, they're an empty. Drew Tranquill kind of kicked out. This is a 5-on-5 for the offensive lineman up to Nick Bolton. Bolton, it's not his fault. Like he has to deal with a block and tackle Josh Allen at the same time. It was a two-way go. So again, kind of those spread runs, but then kind of maximizing what Josh Allen is. The Chiefs, generally kind of struggle with that. The final thing that I thought was interesting was that the Bills played a lot of extra offensive linemen. They played their backup guard, David Andrews. They actually do this a lot in general. I think he has like a 20% snap usage, like the snap count, but like the Bills offensive line was healthy all year. So like they just like willingly play 6 offensive linemen a lot. And the Chiefs really struggled with that. In general, it's struggled in a couple different ways. Some of it was when they were in their nickel packages versus some of it was when they were in their base defense. So I'll start with the nickel first. The Bills played a lot of 11 personnel, but using their offensive lineman, David Andrews, as their tight end, essentially. And they just kind of played bully ball against the Chiefs. They did a whole variety of different runs. Like, I'm not going to break down every single one here. But they ran downhill, they ran zone, they were like pulling, like they were just kind of able to do that consistently. And the Chiefs kind of struggled to stop it. The defensive tackles had a pretty poor game overall. I thought the linebacking play was kind of poor for the most part. And the Bills are just like, all right, we're going to get a little bit heavier. You're going to still match with nickel because it's still 11. And we're going to test to see how well you can stop the run. And the Chiefs kind of struggled against it for the most part. So they also did it out of the Chiefs also had to defend out of base. So when the Bills would kind of bring in an extra tight end, and this would be technically 12 personnel, they were able to still kind of get downhill. And I'm not going to break all these down again. The thing is, like, there was just the run defense was bad in general. It would take me forever to break down every single play to tell you why it was bad. Like, it was just a cascade of things. Like, the defensive tackles was the main reason. Like, the Chiefs could not stop anything in the middle. And like, when I watched the tape, I came away a little bit better on the linebackers, even though I didn't think they played great. Cause like Nick Bolton had 2 guys at his feet every single time because the defensive tackle was just like right in his lap. And the Bills kind of took advantage of that. So whether I was base when they decided to bring this kind of extra offensive lineman in, the Chiefs really struggled to stop the run in general. And the reason why I think that's all relevant is this is what the Baltimore Ravens do. Like, this is actually what they mainly do, especially recently without Mark Andrews. They just play Patrick Ricard. And there's like, all right, well, he's basically a 6th offensive lineman, but we can still get to 11 personnel, but we can still get to a variety of runs. And they also have a quarterback who can run just like Josh Allen. So I think that's the Chiefs at least have something to base off of, but they're going to have to defend the run better. Like, the Ravens are going to watch that tape. They're going to say, all right, like, we'll spread you out. Like, we have wide receiver talent to spread you out. We're going to like test you to run into light boxes. And certainly the Chiefs are going to, I think they'll have to get into different blitzes, different fronts. They just got to play better against the run. That's an easy answer to a lot of this, but it's going to be a challenge for the Chiefs to kind of solve this because everything the Bills can do, I think the Ravens actually can do better on the ground.
So I think one thing that I almost stopped you, but I didn't want to cut you off. That Josh Allen touchdown, that rushing touchdown, it just kind of clicked with me. I saw a mic'd up today. Yeah, Caleb, you're nodding. where Joe Colin was kind of getting in Charles Omenihu, or Chris Jones really was the one getting in Charles Omenihu's butt about containing, right? Really, I can't have my right end crashing down. I can't. And that was that play. I bet that was the exact play he's talking about. So, it's kind of almost nice maybe that they had this kind of round to go against, kind of have that mentality against that Russian quarterback kind of thing before the AFC Championship, maybe tighten some screws in that respect. Before I throw it back to Caleb for any takes he has, we do have Christian asking in the comments, what's wrong with Nick, referring to Nick Bolton, and is Chenal too slow, and referring to Leo Chenal. I know you kind of mentioned, because I think a lot of people came away with the linebackers initially, right, that they didn't have the greatest game. So what maybe specifically about the linebackers did you maybe kind of reevaluate about how they played?
It wasn't as bad when I watched the film. Like I mentioned, like defensive tackles were at Nick Bolton's feet all the time. Like anytime like a Chiefs player got like comboed or they were kind of like wiping down a side, like defensive tackles are just like in his feet. And there's not much you can do if you can't, like, he's trying to, get over the top and like climb in a hole or like take on a pole. It's like, well, if I have a guy in my feet, like I have to run around him. And then like that little angle just lets him kind of run the sideline more. So like, actually, like the linebacker performance wasn't very good. Like it definitely wasn't. I thought the tackling wasn't very good for the most part. But honestly, I think it was more just the fact that, like, especially when Mac Dickerson and Treshaun Wharton were on the field, I didn't look this up. I swear they ran every single time. They must have had someone like in their back. Hey, like those two guys in the field, like we're just running. And Chiefs had no answers. Those guys were just getting annihilated in the run game.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see Neil Farrell this week, just because I feel like even against Baltimore, it's even more important to have space eaters.
Yes.
Guys that just take up space. Isaiah Buggs too. Bring him up from the practice squad. That'd be a nice little thought. Caleb, any defensive takes? How did you feel about how the defense survived on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, the run defense was obviously bad. I don't know how they kept running Dickerson out there and Wharton out there as the game kept going. But even when they had Pinnell in the game, they were kind of rocking with, the just reach blocking him because that's not really his thing. But, my thing is whenever they've played the Bills, I think their Chiefs are still in their own right a little bit traumatized from the 13-second game. So they're always going to give Josh Allen's arm a little bit of respect. And to be fair, they didn't do anything to stop the run, but late in the game there, they got, the Bills into situations where they had to throw and the Bills couldn't convert specifically, which led to the field goal being set up. The Chiefs had a couple of other situations there where they got them off the field and then the fake punt happened. So they did make stops in critical moments that helped them lead to the win. I think that's the thing to remember in these close AFC playoff games. These are one possession games. There's no real blowouts. I do think, though, this game reminds me a little bit of this game coming up reminds me a little bit of that COVID game in 2020 where the Chiefs played terrible run defense the week before in LA. Austin Eckler had like a 200 yards or something ridiculous like that. And then they came out and everyone said it was unanimous Ravens. And they came out and kind of shut the Ravens down. I don't know. It's got kind of a weird similar vibe to that game. And I didn't think the Chiefs defense that year was nearly as good as it is right now.
Heck no. That's one thing I laugh about when you think about the last time the Chiefs played the Ravens. It was Anthony Hitchens. It was Tyrann Mathieu. It was Frank Clark. It was Jaron Reed. It was nowhere near what the unit
really
is now.
Bad. That was like their third game of the season. That was like when they were putting like all-time historic bad numbers.
Yeah. Chris Jones at defensive end.
Oh, God, that was so bad.
All bad. Nate, I before we move on to Mahomes' game, real quick, I just wanted to get your take on Demicchio. I don't want to pronounce that wrong, even though I just probably did. I'd spy Lamar with a safety instead of a linebacker. How do you feel about maybe the way they could, because they've been spying Josh Allen with Willie Gay, kind of. How do you feel about how they're going to attack Lamar with that kind of thing? I'm
assuming this is like third downs, like particularly when you're spying. Right. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really feel good about like Justin Reed spying Lamar Jackson in space. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
Reed's not like Reed's had a good year, but that's not really his like strength. And so I actually think the linebackers Chiefs might be better at it. Like I think Drew Tranquill and Willie Gay might just be a little bit better at it, especially like they're better tacklers. I guess I don't know what safety would you even have spying? Like I guess maybe Jamari Connor, but I don't know. At that point, I'd rather just have Willie Gay and Drew Tranquill.
Would you guys ever mix it up and find a way to get Snead or McDuffie spine on Jackson in some situations? Yeah. Just kind of with the defensive back rotations. I mean, I feel like Spags could find some sort of way to maybe do something.
Yeah, it'll be different guys for sure. Like it doesn't have to just be one guy.
Well, that is one thing about this game that I'm sure we'll talk about plenty as we get there. And Demetria did reply saying he'd use Connor, which, hey, that makes sense. Kind of if Mike Edwards is healthy, that's the thing is they are showing it at the safety position where they do probably need all hands on deck in coverage. That's the thing, man. Hey, man these guys up. That's what I really think they need to do is just trust Snead, McDuffie, all these guys to man up their receivers and win. Just be the better players in man-on-man situations. And it's not forcing Lamar to throw is not like, hey, Lamar can't throw. It's about trusting this Chiefs defensive backfield to get it done. So I think that's a huge part of the game plan. But speaking of throwing, it is time to talk about Patrick Mahomes' game on Sunday because it was an elite performance, even though he only had 215 yards, right? And 2 passing touchdowns, one of them being just a simple screen pass. But what I really thought was interesting, and I had some stats to back it up, he really was so efficient with his attacking of the defense, right? In terms of, the stat I have is that non-screen passes, he had 12 completions. All of them resulted in a first down or a touchdown. So when he was just straight dropping back, he had some incompletions, but his completions all ended in completions or in first downs or touchdowns. And it started early with just making it obvious, right? You don't have to don't outsmart it, Chiefs offense. You're using the run game well. Let's just get Kelsey going. Use a little play action fake here. Kind of have the wheel route and the running back to the flat kind of hold this defender out here to get Kelsey some room to the outside on his out route. And he's just going to take advantage of AJ Klein here. It's just like Duke Riley against Miami. It's going to be the same thing. It's he kind of tries to veer across his face. Not even a great route. Really just says, all right, I'm just going to go away from you and get this first down. Like, it's nothing for Travis. But then on the second drive here, even bigger play, and I like how the Chiefs set it up, right? They're in their full house formation, got him out of the backfield. You're going to release up the seam. And what the play action fake does here is you're going to see number 42, Dorian Williams, another linebacker, another kind of a backup. So the Chiefs are exploiting another guy in the Buffalo linebacking group that may not be playing as much. Gets him to suck up. That allows Kelsey to get into this route pretty quick. His speed on this route's pretty impressive, but it's important not to overshadow the pinpoint throw here. I mean, just an absolute dime. Kelsey doesn't have to break stride at all. Just puts it right on the money, so he can get upfield, get a few more yards, first down. So it was Travis early, right? And so that's where it just became, a big thing. And the other thing was his touchdown, right? The wide open touchdown. I really liked the play design, but it also took Mahomes to read it out and not get conservative here. And so you're going to see that. And I got confused on how kind of this coverage laid out for the Bills. But what happens here is they are going to be trying to rotate into a cover 3, which it is amazing to me that you'd be getting into a cover 3 where Micah Hyde is all the way over here at first and Kelsey's on the other side. That just seems kind of like you're just asking for trouble. And so that's why, honestly, I thought it was a cover 2 and that maybe Poyer just yeah, I know, right? And it kind of makes sense. But when you do look at the rest of the coverage, you see it is a cover 3 shell, meaning this corner to the outside has that deep third. So he has to be wary of this corner route to Travis Kelsey. And Jordan Poyer is playing that strong safety role. He is going to be coming up to underneath stuff. But what the play design does here is you start out with 2 to that side. You get the third route. It's usually just a simple smash concept, right? When you get McCole on this out route, Travis on the corner route. But when you throw in this third underneath route here, it just kind of throws off the thinking of these underneath defenders. They're just thinking, oh, I don't have a corner route maybe if this second route's going underneath. It just kind of and I think maybe it's just a lot too of the communication of not having a Matt Milano or a Terrell Bernard maybe to communicate in that pre-snap motion. I think McCole kind of going over there last minute really did screw them up. But it is good on Mahomes too, and he didn't have pressure here. It was a clean pocket. But to just read it out, see it happen, and go for the deep ball. Because we've seen Mahomes recently, right? Not maybe, be pretty conservative in terms of once they get down near the goal line, getting throwing into the end zone. He's been pretty conservative in that respect. Not against Buffalo, and actually to the point where he actually missed some throws, which I'm going to get to now because I do think it is noteworthy that on this second drive of the game, Chiefs could have had a touchdown pass on back-to-back plays. Obviously, you don't get 2 touchdowns. But here's the smash concept with only 2 routes, right? We just talked about having the third route to kind of disrupt the coverage. This is only 2 routes, but it's simple. It's simple. Mahomes just misreads the leverage. Kelsey flattens. Although you could say Kelsey misreads it, but either way, Kelsey is flattening his route more towards the pylon to the sideline. Mahomes throws it to the corner. If Kelsey went to the corner, it's a touchdown. But if Mahomes throws it to the flat, it's probably a touchdown. But you do kind of understand that corner is kind of sinking a little bit there. So you do kind of see maybe why Mahomes is thinking corner. The leverage, though, kind of tells you that it probably makes sense that he goes to the sideline like Kelsey does. So that is the first throw. And then the next play, it's almost the same thing, right? It's a version of it. They motion into MVS getting into that corner route, that flag route. Clyde's the flat route to kind of be in that to the second in that smash. He just overthrows him. He just misses him. It's just a simple miss. And so that's kind of an encouraging thing when you think about, not only was he taking these shots to the end zone and they were open, they got those shots there. It's also encouraging that, he had such a good game and he still left some throws on the table where he's in film study and like, golly, man, I got to make the throws. But I think the big thing with Mahomes was the throws he made down the field. I think that's the most encouraging thing. And it started with this beautiful throw right out of halftime. MVS from the slot. Bills are starting to get smart or, kind of weary of the underneath over the middle stuff to Kelsey and Rice. All right, Micah Hyde's going to come up, play Rice straight up, kind of take him away. All right, well, if they're going to do that, then I'm just going to test MVS vertically and let him go get the pass, which it was a great catch, but just where else could the throw be? I mean, this is an absolutely perfect throw, just an absolute dime from Mahomes. One of those things where, when he's on, it's a beautiful thing. But this was the better play, honestly. And it's because he gets the creative out of structure. It's one of the only times the Bills blitzed him. The Bills blitz him here with both linebackers. You'll see it from the end zone view. Trey does a great job of taking some guys out, but Mahomes just buys time once Kelsey is taken away as the blitz outlet, right? He wants to go to Kelsey as the quick, all right, they're blitzing, I'm just going to get rid of the ball quick. But Kelsey's taken away. He just doesn't get into his route enough. Jordan Poyer does a pretty good job. And so Mahomes buys time, and you'll see it from the end zone angle, finds MVS on the crosser. But the best part about it is once he buys time, and you'll see these 2 rushers come, Trey kind of wipes them out. He waits for MVS to cross and throws it at the perfect time. But that's the thing is we can't take this for granted, guys. Like, not every quarterback can throw this quickly, moving ahead, right? When they're actually kind of running forward. A lot of quarterbacks have to reset, and that might be the difference between this pass being incomplete on the field and it being a tight completion. Mahomes, for him, it's like a baseball throw. And I know we've all, we've known that forever, but it's a beautiful thing to see Mahomes be the playmaker he is, make those plays. I gotta show the scramble too, because I think that was a big key moment in this game, and it's just an example again of him recognizing the defense and taking advantage, even if it is with his legs, in terms of making a big play. Because in this play, they go 4 to one side, right? They have 4 routes into this side. Bills are in a zone cover, but they're obviously going to be shading to this side. Look, they have attention on Kelsey, who's running over the middle, running to the right. Look how to the left of the hash, there's only 1 Bills defender. And there's a Blake Bell too. Mahomes knows that. Mahomes sees that quickly, recognizes that, and he just toys with Rasul Douglas here. And it's better from the end zone angle and makes a play. This is where it just becomes like legendary stuff. Like, yeah, quarterbacks are going to do the throws I just laid out, right? We're going to see plenty of all-time quarterbacks make those kind of throws, but it's Mahomes picking and choosing when to make these big plays with his legs too. Like, he just knew. He saw it open up, and he didn't mess around, right? Once he saw it open up, he went right for it. Tooled with Rasul Douglas, who was injured. You gotta give him credit, for playing through the injury, but that's what happens playing a banged up Bills defense. So it really was a legendary game from Mahomes. It was a joy to watch him lead that team in Buffalo to a victory and kind of enjoy being the villain arc. I don't know, boys. How much joy did you take in the Chiefs offense looking probably the best it has all year, right? It really was. I mean, there's just no question. How'd you all feel about it?
Mahomes played with great accuracy, and the standing thing was just like everything was, besides those 2 red zone misses, everything was accurate. Everything was on. And you had to avoid pressure. Every time you avoid it, even like throwing left when you assume that you play. I played within the time of the offense, just don't need like really down here. So it was nice after like a offensive.
Oh man, I think we were we lost you a little bit there. So I think I know it was praise.
Oh, sorry about that.
Go with that. No, you're good. Caleb, just I don't know, man. How did you feel just relishing in, again, the offense's best performance of the year overall?
I mean, it was awesome to see. I mean, you saw them succeed in every phase of the game, really across the board. But I don't know. This is the first time this year it kind of feels like we're seeing the offense from last year start to pop up again. You see Rashee Rice kind of taking on that complementary role in the big moments that Juju had. You're seeing Kelsey start to get targeted more, starting to look like he's being rejuvenated. MVS, after a season of struggles, he makes 2 of the biggest catches of the games. Mahomes doing what he can. And, just overall with that thing, I mean, it was team win. Special teams made the big stop a couple of times. Harrison Butker, honestly, that first kick he made was 47 yards. It was about the same. It was a longer field goal than what Bass missed at the end of the game. So I'd give him a lot of credit also in winning that game. That wasn't an easy kick up there. And, they're going to need to bring it this weekend. Baltimore's a really good team. I think statistically they're better than the Chiefs in every category. They have some things they could take advantage of the Chiefs with. But like you said, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is a little bit special, man. And sometimes that does make a difference.
It did in Buffalo, man. It definitely did. In a tight game, all the ridiculous talk about, Josh Allen outplaying him. It was we'll just sit happy knowing we're moving on and knowing that we truly do have the best quarterback in football playing for the Chiefs, which is a remarkable thing to say, thinking back a few years ago, man. It wasn't that long ago. We were watching Brody Croyle and Tyler Thigpen and hey, Matt Castle was the savior. I mean, let's relish this. Let's be grateful for Mahomes going in, being the villain into Baltimore on Sunday. Let's see if he can do it again, man. So we'll be breaking down that game, win or loss, next week. But we'll see. Hopefully it's a dub. Hopefully we're breaking down a dub. Hopefully we're looking forward to a matchup in the Super Bowl that we're excited about. Appreciate y'all joining us tonight. Appreciate y'all watching. Make sure you check us all out on Twitter, on arrowheadpride.com. We'll have plenty of stuff leading into the game. I think we're gonna have a few extra Ravens preview things, man. I'm fired up for this game, so make sure you check it out, and we'll catch you next week.